Hi, Karen with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a scrapbook layout for Kitaholic Kits, and this is for the December 2022 kit. And for you subbies out there, I hope you're having heaps of fun playing with this kit this month. I know I certainly did. I've tried a few different things. I've challenged myself. My challenge for today is to use some of these tags and those larger ephemera pieces from the Vicky Bouton ephemera pack. I'm never a great tag fan, but I had this idea in my mind about creating a banner across the page. So off camera, I do pull that together, and then as I'm pulling it together here on the page, I did make it a little bit big, so I do reduce it down a little bit. And I do cut some of those pieces. They're a little bit long, as you can see there. But I'm really loving how this is going to start to look. And I am going to use some of the mixed media as well, using some of the Vicky Bouton watercolours. Can't help myself. I love them so much this month. I've had such a fun time playing with them all. So this is basically where I'm heading with this layout. I'm starting with these banners. I've got a couple of photos. I'm thinking I'm going to do a multi-photo layout at this stage. I'm going to use some ephemera pieces. I'm starting to think about, can I use that camera piece? Is it too big? Spoiler alert, it doesn't make it onto the layout. I have not been able to make that one work this month, but I'm determined I'm going to use it at some point. So my mixed media today is I'm tailoring it to just a couple of colours here, looking at the banner pieces that I'm using. So I'm going to go with using some blue and some of the gold as well. So I've put a little bit of water on my palette there, and then I'm just using the packaging technique. If you've never used the packaging technique before, I find this is the most easiest way to get watercolour or ink or spray or whatever you're using onto a page. I love it. You just pop a little bit onto your plastic packaging. I keep all my plastic packaging from my ephemera packs, and then literally turn it over and smush it on your page. It looks different every time you do it, but you can control it sometimes as well if you just want it to go into one little area. I'm working through, so like I said, love it. It's definitely probably my favorite go-to. I'm not an artist, so I love the messy look that you can get from the packaging technique. I'm also adding some splatters and that gold piece there as well, using the packaging technique as well. That gold is just magnificent. It is beautiful and shiny and just pops off the page. I should also mention that I have gessoed my white cardstock with clear gesso because it does allow for the watercolor paint to smush a lot easier. It gives a little bit more flow, and you've got a little bit of an opportunity to move things around and add some water and things like that. If you don't use gesso, it will soak into the cardstock pretty much straight away, and it can leave some blotchiness and things like that, which is not what I like on my page. So I always, pretty much every time I use mixed media, so inks and sprays and paints, I've normally put on some gesso. All right, so I'm just sticking this banner down. I'm using some wet glue. In this instance, I'm using some Nuvo glue, and I love that glue. It is my favorite glue. This year I have trialed a few others, but I go back to this one every single time. And I felt like it wasn't enough in terms of layers once this was stuck down. So I grabbed out the cut apart sheet, one of the pattern papers from the Pink Fresh Studio pattern papers that we got, and just adding a few more layers into the layout. So popping them under that little yellow piece that looks like a pocket, and that tag saying "Love This." Probably one of my favorite tags of all for this particular page. And then I'm thinking it's starting to build up here now. Pretty much I love a busy layout. It's not a surprise that that first initial layer, I guess, wasn't enough. So I needed to add some more to the page. What I also do with all of those pieces is I do curl up some of the edges just to add in some dimension on the page. And that tag there, for this one, I'm just adding on some of the string as well, just to tie it back with the string that I used for the complete banner pieces. Sort of makes it a bit more cohesive and makes it feel like it's not just an added piece of banner there on the page. So the photo I'm using today is a photo of the boys, which is not an unusual photo for me. This was taken years ago. I think I may have probably scrapped this before. This was a photo shoot that we did with Leanne Stamatolis several years ago. It was, I look at these photos now and I can't believe how much grown up they are from these photos. But we had a wonderful little mini session with Leanne in New Farm Park around the Powerhouse Powerhouse, what's it called? The Powerhouse something, where you can go see shows and things like that. So I love this photo. I love Oscar leaning over with his leg dangling down the stairs. It's just perfect for me. So which is why I scrap it quite a lot. I also scrap these photos sometimes. I'm going to digress for a moment, but a thing for me, because I have grandparents and parents and myself and things like that, I often scrap photos a second or even a third time, because I have given albums out to family members, and when I feel like, and when I go through and put things in albums, I often go through and go, oh, I'll give this to my sister for her album, or I'll give it to whatever. So that's why it doesn't really bother me that I create sometimes using photos that I've done before. And it's a good way to sort of share, and it's actually a good way to actually get rid of layouts that you don't need and don't want to store anymore. So yeah, I love being able to do that. So yeah, it's just a little tip. If you feel weird about using photos for the second time, do you ever give them out for gifts and things like that? So that's certainly what I do. All right, just finishing off the layout, I'm just adding in those gorgeous birds, one on each end, tucking them in there, just adding a few of the tags as well, so keep it real on that right-hand side, the little banner piece. Also one of a kind, which was a sticker from the sticker sheet, so I do pop that up on a little bit of card so it's lifted off the page. I loved Enjoy as that tag piece as well. And there we have the finished layout. I did add some splatters, and I also did add a border on the top and the bottom of the page off camera. I came back later on in the afternoon and realised it was just missing something. I will leave in the description box below all the details on where you can get this month's kit. I certainly encourage you to take a look. It is a great kit this month, and plus the mixed media kit makes it a perfect kit to get. I will leave you there. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you spending a little bit of time creating with me. I will see you next time. Bye for now.